Welcome back, Guardian. This video is going to be a ton of randomness, just various tests out in the world, testing mobility speeds, jump heights, moving target with lightweight weapons, just a bunch of random stuff. I don't even know how I'm going to talk my way through this video because it's just a bunch of just stuff. So I thought we would just jump into it and check out some jump heights. So we're going to start it at 3 and go all the way up to 10. And I didn't test 2 and 1 just for the sake of the video. Obviously 2 and 1 is going to be extremely low jump height. This is just your natural boost when you're moving around territory and stuff like that. Just doing like, you know, bunny hop shots, just random things like that basically when you're not doing your boost. Just your natural jump height of when you're moving basically. And you can pay attention to that line on the door. That was where we kind of started it with 3. And then when you get to 7, you're right at that little square etching thing above the door frame. And then we get to 8 and then we're like, you know, a little bit above that door etching thing. And then we hit 9 and we're about halfway at that etching basically. And then we go up to 10 and then we're clearing that thing, you know, freaking doing slam dunks at 10 mobility. But obviously getting to 10 mobility sacrifices recharge rates or recovery, so it's kind of hard to build for 10 mobility, especially on a Titan or sometimes even on a Warlock. But Hunters can normally kind of get it, but I recommend 7 just because it's a great equal balance. You get plenty of jump height, plenty of strafe speed, which is what we're going to move to right now. So a lot of people probably don't think about your strafe speed very much, but it's every time you're in combat and you're not boosting, you're covering more ground by having a higher mobility value. So we're going to start it at 10 versus 7 and then test 7 versus some other values. So even though, you know, at the short distance, you're not going to see much of a difference, but as you're strafing around battle and doing hops and boosts and just different various things all around battle, your fall speed registers towards your mobility speed. So it's really crucial to have a higher type of mobility because you cover more ground, and it's just kind of vital in speed killing because you cover that more ground, you have more survival instinct, you have more just faster combat basically. It's like people that play at high sensitivities. Having mobility is another form of a high sensitivity. It lets you cover that more ground and just stuff like that basically. So here's 7 versus 1. I'm going to stop it at different lines that are on the ground. So we're going to stop it right here at this yellow line. And you can see that 1 hasn't even got to that yellow line yet. So every time you see me pause frames, it's because of these lines that are on the ground to see how the lower mobility value is trying to catch up to that line, just so you can see kind of the pace. And just imagine if this is a whole combat arena right here and you're doing boosts and you're jumping all around. Over time, the higher your mobility, the more ground you're constantly just covering when you're just boosting and doing everything, doing back hops, doing sideways hops. Just everything that you do basically is all about that mobility and how much faster you can cover the ground to get it. It's like people that speed clear Resident Evil games or any type of video game. They're always trying to find corners to cut for speed, and that's what mobility does for you in a sense. It just is having faster gameplay basically. So if you ever notice when you first start out Destiny, in any Destiny basically, you always find lower mobility valued gear. And I think it's because Bungie knows that when you first start out the video game, you're not going to be that great at movement and stuff yet because you're going to build your skill level up. And then by the time you hit max light, you start getting all that higher mobility gear. And at that point, they know that you're able to move at faster speed. But a lot of people get used to playing at low mobility that they never even try the high mobility, so they don't really know what the difference is in it. And that's really what I'm trying to portray in this video. So let's do the notorious 6+ traction versus 7. So this is one of those things when it comes to editing where you can be 1 frame off trying to line 2 strafes up. So these are actually identical, and I'll show you 6+ traction versus regular 6 in a little bit. But you can see that it looks like the 6 traction is like a hair behind, but it's actually not. It's actually a direct tie. It's just one of those things that happen when you're trying to edit by just such a small millimeter that it just makes these little things happen. But these are basically identical. I'm going to do more tests like this in just a second, just to show you how much 6 versus 7 is, to let you know that, you know, the 6 traction is actually 7, but you can see at the very end it was an exact tie. It's just those little things that happen when you're trying to edit. So let's do 5 versus 7 now and see what the difference is in 5 versus 7. Like I said, these little, you know, small little increments of movement might not seem like much, but that can be the difference in you getting picked away more by higher light adds, such as ogres or wizards or whatever. And you can see when I get to that first line using the 7 on the right versus the 5 on the left, I'm about to hit that other white line right here, and you can see 5 is just now catching up to that white line. So it's like 3 steps behind basically. So it's not that much, but trust me, that plays a huge role in harder activities when AI shoot faster and they hit a lot harder. 7 just puts it at that right balance, and it's easy to build for because 6+ traction, most people are always using traction, and it's not hard to build for 6. So the 6+ traction is really easy to attain on a build, and you can have plenty of recharge rates and your 7 recovery to go with it. So it's just a great overall, just like I said, balance of everything. Now here's hopping backwards. People don't think that your fall speed matters. Well, here's the difference in when you're hopping backwards 3 versus 7. Now, again, I'm not saying you're going to always be hopping around battle like this, but outside of your boosting around and jumping around, doing these little hops lets you stay in the air longer for more accurate shots, to not have as much screen judder when you're trying to aim in the air and then when you first land. So the higher you are in the air, the more accurate you can be, and it also procs AI to shoot at a higher level than what you're actually at, causing them to miss more shots. I'm going to show you this again doing sideways hops now. Now just imagine how much more accurate you're going to be with that kind of hang time and the speed that you get jumping around the battlefield. And like I said, you're not always going to be jumping around doing this on every jump that you do, but outside of your boosting and jumping around combat and just doing all your little movements and strategies and stuff like that, it's just that much quicker. Your jump speed is way faster when you're at 7 versus just at 3, which is what I see a lot of people at when I spec people at the tower. You can see that I'm already off the map with the 7, and then miles behind being at 3. That's just super slow, man. Like, you get no kind of aim out of that, you get no kind of jump shot out of that. As soon as you pull your gun up to aim, you're already hitting the ground again, and I don't know, I just can't handle that low mobility speed. It just seems like it holds me back more than anything. Now here is 6 versus 6 plus traction. You can see that, you know, when we showed the 7 versus 6, it was almost a tie. You can see that these are a gap behind. I'm going to show you these lines. At the top right is 6 in traction. You can see them with that white line, and then I just get to the white line on 6. Like I said, it's not much, but 6 in traction is easy to build for. And if you spend enough time learning the shot patterns and shot speeds of some of the hardest AI in game, 7 will dodge it a whole lot more than 6, not counting the amount of jump height you get out of 7 versus 6. 7 is just when it really just starts to take off. Now let's go to some weapons and learn some movement speeds with those. So I spent a lot of time doing this. This is going to be 10 moving target versus 10 lightweight and moving target. I couldn't figure out which one was faster, if moving target was faster or if lightweight was faster than moving target. So that's really what you're going to see a lot of this, and just testing various different types of mobility speed and stuff like that. So you'll see right here that I just hit the wall with the lightweight a little bit faster than I do with just the moving target. And what I ended up finding out after tons of testing was lightweight and moving target will both stack past 10, but your strafe speed outside of aiming maxes out at 10. So if you have 10 in moving target, it'll be a little bit quicker, and then 10 in lightweight is a little bit faster than 10 in moving target. So the way to go is, if you don't have moving target, or if you wanted moving target, lightweight's actually faster than moving target, but you can stack lightweight and moving target to go even faster, but it's not by much at all. We're going to do a ton of tests like this. So here's 10 lightweight versus 10 lightweight and moving target on the right, and you can see the lightweight on the left with that little hand cannon, the king, jack, queen, whatever you call it, but it's going to be a tiny hair behind. And I had to do so many of these tests to make sure my editing wasn't off when I was trying to line both of them up. But you can see that it's a tiny bit faster by having lightweight and moving target, by maybe like a 0.5% or 1%, basically, not much at all. Now up next, it's going to be the notorious 9 lightweight versus 10 lightweight. Both have traction on it to see if 9 is the same as 10. And these almost look like identical frames, aside from me doing shots at different times and different emotes at the end. But I do those shots at the beginning to help my editing, so I know that when I'm about to move. So when I'm lining both frames up, I just know when I'm about to start moving to line them up easier. It's just kind of like something that I just do, basically. You can see these are exactly the same speed. 9 lightweight in the traction tops out, so it's not going to go, the lightweight basically doesn't even matter here. Just the 9 in traction making it 10 matters, and then the lightweight, it just doesn't go above 10, basically. So 10 and 9 in traction are the same exact thing. Now 10 lightweight moving target versus 10 in lightweight again. I want to test it with 2 different scout rifles just to make sure that guns don't matter in this, because you just never know when it comes to Bungie and what they're doing behind doors, if they maybe mess up and maybe primaries are faster than energy weapons and things like that or whatever. So I just wanted to test it out, and then you can see that the 10 lightweight and moving target is a tiny bit faster than just the 10 in lightweight. So like I said, lightweight and moving target will both stack. Now here is 10 versus 10 lightweight moving target to see if you don't have any of those and you're just doing your, walking speed, basically. You can kind of see how fast it is. And of course, lightweight moving target is going to be faster, but you can see how much faster right here when I hit the wall first using the one on the right versus the one on the left, which is a fusion rifle, the Epicurean. So it's a little bit behind, but 10 is still pretty quick. But if you want a little bit faster, lightweight moving target is the way to go. Now here's with the primary auto rifle with moving target versus lightweight and moving target, both at 10. You can see that because of the lightweight, it's going to make it faster, proving that both of them stack, basically. So you're going to see me, I'm almost hitting the wall, and because of the lightweight, it makes it a little pinch faster. And like I said, lightweight is faster than moving target. So if you don't have one or the other, If you have lightweight but not moving target, it's better to have lightweight. And here's this test again using lightweight moving target versus 10 in lightweight. Like I said, I spent a ton of time doing this to make sure that these are accurate results. But you can see the one on the right lands, and then the one on the left kind of flams behind it. So it's like a land-land kind of situation, meaning that the lightweight and the moving target are stacking, making the lightweight not as fast as when you stack both of them together. Now here's with the bow to see again if different guns match. Like when I do test, I go all out to make sure there's no different guns that can maybe play a better role in this and stuff like that. But you can see again that lightweight moving target beats the bow with just lightweight, both at 10 mobility. And then we'll do it again, 10 lightweight versus 10 lightweight, one with the primary, one with the bow energy weapon. Like I said, I just do a ton of tests to make sure that there's no kind of, different possibilities when it comes to different type of guns and things like that. And like I was saying in the community tab, if y'all follow that, this wasn't even supposed to be a video for anybody. This was just a video for myself to study, but I decided that, some things were kind of interesting in it. So I thought for those interested, maybe you'll find it interesting or whatever, but it's just kind of one of those things. But here's 10 versus 10 lightweight. And you can see they're an exact tie, proving again that it doesn't matter if you have a lightweight weapon. Once you're at 10, you can't go past 10 basically, unless you're aiming down sights. Then lightweight and moving target will both stack. But you can see those are identical basically. Now we're going to do 10 lightweight versus 10 lightweight again using two different weapons just to make sure they're still exactly the identical match, to make sure that the weapon isn't going to matter at all. And you're not even seeing a lot of the different guns and stuff that I tested. I just kind of chose some random ones to put in this video for you guys to watch. But now we're going to do 10 moving target versus 10 lightweight again, just to make sure, because like I said, I want to make sure that lightweight is faster than moving target when you're at max at 10 mobility. And you can see right here that the 10 in lightweight is a split second faster than the 10 in moving target. So like I said, lightweight is the better way to go. If you don't have moving target and you have lightweight, it's better to have lightweight than it is to have moving target, but it's better to have both if you can get both. Here's another test just to kind of seal the deal. It's 10 moving target versus 10 lightweight moving target. The one on the left is a Subtle Calamity. The one on the right is the Eternal Blazon Scout Rifle. It's a year 1 weapon that just doesn't have random rolls basically, but it was the only one I could find that was a lightweight and moving target. You'll see that it's a tiny bit faster where it lands than the other one lands. So like I said, that just proves the deal right there. Now I wanted to test lightweight primary versus another lightweight energy, and then we're going to find out how much exactly lightweight gives you, because a lot of people are under the assumption that it gives you a +2 mobility. And I'm going to show you that it actually gives you only a +1 mobility. So you can see these are identical tests, so it doesn't matter if it's a lightweight primary or energy. And now what we're going to do is do energy versus primary, same test, lightweight versus lightweight, both at 7 mobility, equaling 8 mobility. And then we're going to do 9 and then 10 versus lightweight at 7. And if it doesn't go to 9, then we know that it's not giving but 1. And then we're going to test it versus an 8, 7 lightweight versus 8, and then see what the difference is. Now we're going to do 7 lightweight versus 7 to see what the exact difference is, just to kind of, show you this, and then we're going to build up to the 7 lightweight versus an 8 mobility. You can see that the 7 lightweight is a little bit faster, getting to that concrete railing. And then we're going to go to the other concrete railing, and keep in mind, it's really hard to do these tests because sometimes your guy doesn't strafe in the same location, even though you'll be holding left or holding right. Sometimes he'll go like diagonal left and diagonal right. It's just weird kind of things that happen. It's really hard to make your guy just go straight to the left. As dumb as that sounds, it really is hard to make it do that when it comes to trying to get a precise test. Now here is 9 versus lightweight at 7 mobility. And you can see 9 is a little bit faster going to that concrete railing. And they're going to go to the second concrete railing. And like I said, some of these might be off a little bit because of how the strafing is, but the 9 is still ahead than the 7 lightweight. And you can see that the 9 is actually faster than 7 in lightweight. And now what we're going to do is do the 10 mobility versus 7 in lightweight, and then do the final test. Not really the final one, there's still one more, because I want people to know that lightweight doesn't affect your jump height as well. So here it is, 10 mobility is going to be faster, get to that concrete railing, faster than the 7 with the lightweight weapon. I'm just using Nameless Midnight, which is not a lightweight weapon, so we're just max 10 mobility. And you can see that, of course, 10 mobility is faster. So if it was giving you a +2 mobility, the 9 would have been a tie with 7 in lightweight, because it would have been 7 plus 2, which is 9. And now what we're going to do is 8. And you can see that the 8 and the 7 lightweight are identical. Even though the frames might be a little bit different looking because of how I'm strafing, they're an exact tie, and I did this test a ton of times. So lightweight weapons only give you a +1 mobility. That goes for when you're aiming down sights. Moving target gives you like a 0.5 plus moving speed, and then lightweight gives you a +1, and that's all it does for you. So anybody who thought in the past that lightweight adds a +2 mobility, you now know that it does not. It only adds a +1, so 7 in lightweight equals 8 mobility. Now let's talk about lightweight and jumping. I'm going to be using trackless waste, which is not a lightweight weapon. And you're going to see that little stain where the reticle is below it, basically. That little whatever on the wall. Just pay attention to that. I probably could have found a better spot to do this at, but I'm going to show you some various jump heights. And keep in mind, the more better you are at timing your jump button when you do your high jump, the faster you do that and the better timed it is right when you hit the ground, the higher you'll jump. A lot of people think that just by hitting XX, it's going to be max jump every time. You'll see some different various heights right here that you'll see me keep going up and up. Pay attention to that etching on the rock right there or whatever that is. And then you'll see I'm going to do it with the lightweight weapon, which is going to be identical heights pretty much. Actually, the trackless went a tiny bit higher, but it's all going to be, you know, subjective to how well you are at timing your jump button whenever you're hitting it right as you hit the ground. It just really, it's almost like you spring off the ground pretty much, the better timing you have with it. But you can see they're identical heights. No one is different than the other, basically. So lightweight will only give you a +1 movement speed, but it never affects your jump height at all, as you can see right here. So anybody that has ever told you that, that's completely false or whatever. You can do this test yourself and see the same thing. But like I said, Guardian, that's just a bunch of randomness, kind of just off the wall type videos. Next up, I'm going to show you some difference in blast radius and rocket launchers and stuff like that, to show you why you really just want that sleepless or that max blast rocket whenever you can get it, and maybe you'll put down those low blast rockets. But again, Guardians, I appreciate y'all watching this. If you want us to support the channel or join our B squad, I highly appreciate it. But other than that, I will see you on some future videos next time.